Okay, welcome everybody to the monthly WLS coaching group call. Appreciate everybody being on the call today. So today's going to be a little bit of a different presentation. Initially, I was thinking, hey, let's talk about what we want to do in 2023, and certainly that's going to be part of today's call. But what I wanted to do is I've been reading and watching some podcasts, listening to some podcasts, watching some videos of some podcasts. There are some general concepts that I think we probably all know, but I was able to have a sense of clarity on some of the stuff that I'm getting to share with you. And I wanted to share it with you because of that. And we can also tie some of these themes that I'm going to share with you to what it is that you're interested in doing as it relates to 2023, right? So we'll get started. So this is actually a question I want you to think about in your head, and we're going to definitely discuss this in a few slides. But I want you to think about the year 2023. Arbitrarily, it's like, hey, it's a new year, New Year's resolutions. This is what I'm going to focus on. And I think that's wonderful. Anytime is a good time to be thinking about what you want to do differently as it relates to your health and wellness, or quite frankly, anything in your life for the betterment. So I want you to think about in your head maybe one or two things that come to mind. Don't share them at this time. Is what you want. It could be regarding movement. It could be regarding plant-based eating. It could be regarding a goal like weight loss. It could be any number of things, right? So just think about that specific thing and how it relates and ties in with your individual values, your aspirations, and what's really, truly important to you. Okay? All right. So the first concept I want to share with you, and I sent this on the text earlier today to probably all of you, as well as I posted it on Facebook, and that is easy street, right? So it's that place that we all want to be at as it relates to little to no stress, perfect health. We're really popular. We got plenty of money. We're famous. We can enjoy our youth, etc. Right? And as we think about easy street, where there's little or no pain, i.e., life in general, the thing I want to give to you and really take some time to talk about is it actually does not exist, right? And I had this sense of clarity personally in my life in the last couple of months. And we all know this, with life, you're going to have pain. You're going to have points of discomfort in your life. That's just what life brings you, right? And I think about the aspiration of, well, I want to be in a place of health and wellness, which is wonderful and certainly attainable. But to get there, there's going to be some discomfort. There's going to be some things that you're going to probably need to be doing that we don't always want to do, because the things like laziness or the effort it takes or the pain. Quite frankly, a number of you have shared, and I've shared with you as well, that to get from here to there as it relates to health and wellness, sometimes there's some pain involved as well, right? So I really want to take on the sense of, hey, this is easy street. This is a place. This is fantasy land. There's really no such thing as easy street. Even when you think about the folks that are on this slide here, that just incredibly wealthy, famous, beautiful person has challenges, has pain, has problems in their life as well, including your coach, right? I mean, we all do. We're all human, and it's part of the wonderful human experience. Now, the good news is, if you can have the sense of clarity, now this isn't supposed to be a beat them down type presentation, but the good news is coming out of this and having the sense of clarity and realizing that that's what life is, and you can have that clarity and have that knowledge. There's a lot of really wonderful things that you can do with that versus anticipating and wondering why you're not at easy street, right? So just think about that for just a moment as it relates to what you want to try to accomplish and where you want to be, and having a fantasy land, which I think I sometimes fall into. Hey, this is going to be easy and things are going to be great and everything's going to fall in place and there's not going to be any pain at all, which is not reality. So, and I've shared this information with you guys, and I'm going to try to remember as I post this video in the description. I'm going to there's a video that Rory Vaden, who wrote Take the Stairs, a phenomenal book, talks about the story of the buffalo, right? We need to be more like the buffalo. So when a storm comes, and I've shared this with a couple of you, but when a storm comes over the valleys around Colorado, there's lots of cows and there's lots of buffalo there in the valley, right? And when a storm comes, the cow actually runs from the storm, which is heading their way, because they're afraid, because they're nervous and they don't want to experience the storm. And because they run from the storm, and actually the storm catches it because cows aren't that fast, the storm catches it and they're actually experiencing that storm longer period of time because they're running from it and they're running with it. The actual opposite is what happens with a buffalo. When a storm is coming over the mountains in the plains of Colorado, the buffaloes see the storm and they actually run at the storm. And because they run at and through the storm, they're experiencing the discomfort, the pain of the storm itself specifically is a shorter amount of time, right? So we need to be more like the buffalo, that when we see and we identify those pains, those problems, and that discomfort in our life, knowing that that's what life is about anyway, we need to confront that. We need to deal with it. We need to work through that so we can get what we ultimately want to accomplish in our lives as goals as well, right? I just thought that was an interesting metaphor for what buffalo do and what cows do. And as I say on the slide there, people are more like cows. We avoid our problems. We don't want to deal with those challenges. We want to, it's all normal behavior, but it actually makes it that much more difficult in the process of what we're trying to accomplish. So there's two pains in life. And I got this actually from Jim Rohn. There's the pain. We're going to have pain either way. We're alive, right? And I've shared with a number of you, and hopefully this is many, many years down the road, but as we die, then we don't have any more pain. At least that's what our understanding is. But between now and then, we're going to have pain in some form or fashion, right? So there's the pain of discipline and there's the pain of regret, right? The pain of discipline weighs ounces and the pain of regret weighs tons. And this slide, which is, I don't know if you can see this or not, but the top line, and this is all very circumstantial, it just depends on what that specific circumstance is. But the top line is an individual, and you can see the pain on the left-hand side there, that they're dealing with the discomfort, how frustrating that's the ounces that I'm talking about. And the line that's straight is this a smooth line, and their chances of having greater peace in their life because they deal with that pain sooner than later is significantly greater. The bottom line is the person that continues to avoid that. And as you can see, the tons on the right-hand side, the challenge that they deal with because of that, right? It continues to get worse. Now, with any individual, and with probably all individuals, including myself, I have issues in my life where I am out in front and I'm proactive and the pain is significantly less. And I also have plenty of things in my life where, boy, if I would have just done such and such, or gotten out of this, or solved it, gotten through this, or taken care of this, I wouldn't be dealing with the bottom line where the pain is significantly greater in my life because of that. So again, this isn't an either or situation. It's just thinking about those various circumstances in our life and how we deal with those proactively or ahead of time. Again, like the buffalo going into the storm, how that can help and support us to what we want to try to do to minimize the pain, but not virtually eliminate it, which is not possible. So now I'd like you guys to share, if you're okay with it, with your 2023 intention, what is maybe an example of pain of discipline that could apply? Okay. So in other words, if your goal is to lose a certain set amount of weight, that's your intention, that's your goal, this is what you want to do. There's going to be some things that you're going to need to do to help and support you to hit that goal, right? So those are the things, i.e. the pain of discipline, that I'm talking about as it relates to your 2023 intention. So what comes to mind for you guys as far as the pain of discipline to help you get or achieve your health and wellness aspiration for 2023?
Just the pain of doing it, the pain of the literal physical pain.
Okay.
of ignoring the pain, basically, or kind of not ignoring it, but honoring it, but doing it anyway.
Okay. So
And
actually physically experiencing that pain.
right.
Yeah.
And in moving through it, being aware and thinking of what it is that's hurting
Yeah.
and how that can be alleviated without stopping the action.
There you go. So continually moving forward. What else comes to mind as possible pains of discipline for your intention for 2023?
For me, one of my like acute intentions, like I guess short term, is learning how to ski and like
Okay.
being really good at the sport of skiing. Like
Yeah.
I've been a bunch of times now and it's super fun and I really like it. So that's like a short term goal. And the pain there is, I guess, twofold. One, like logistically, like coordinating and like having a car to get
Mm-hmm.
out to the like specific mountains.
Yeah.
And then physically, it's like a very demanding sport, and you're like, I guess I've never felt as sore as I have
Yeah.
by skiing, just because I'm like using different muscles than I normally would for like my every like day to day like hit workouts or boxing workouts. So again, with the physical pain of like
Mm-hmm.
trying something new or committing to like a new sport or a new activity or a new discipline,
Yeah.
that's what I feel. But in the end, the like adrenaline and like the like me having fun with like my friends and like getting good at the sport and like enjoying the sport outweighs that physical pain. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like willing to put up with it because it's so much fun.
Wonderful. Yeah, you're getting ahead of me on the slides, but that's you know me very well.
Yes.
Yeah, so great sharing. So the intention is to become a proficient good skier or a better skier short term, and then the logistics of setting that up. You don't have a car, you've already shared with us, coordinating, organizing, and then the actual, I mean, it's physically, and I've done it. Like you said, you're using muscles that you don't typically use. So there's definitely the learning curve as well as the actual physical pain that you're going because it's such a demanding sport.
Hmm. I'll
Another great
post when you
example.
post the recording of this, I'll post a video of myself skiing
That's
for anyone looking
wonderful.
for
I'd look
tips.
forward to hearing it or seeing it. That's wonderful. And are you there in the area skiing because there's plenty of places or?
Yeah, the mountains are like less than 2 hours away. It's like all in like the New England area, which is
That's
nice.
fantastic. Love it. Cool. All right. So two good examples of working through either physical pain that they've shared and then Helen shared as well. The example of the skiing. Anything else that comes to mind as far as what your intention is and then working through the pain of discipline to accomplish that aspiration?
I can't hear Claire. It looks like she's talking, but I can't hear her.
Claire, you have to unmute yourself. There you
Okay,
go.
yeah. The my iPad is dying,
Mm-hmm.
so I have to switch to my phone. So I didn't want to just leave, but I'll be leaving and calling back in on
No
my phone.
worries.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Anybody else? So for me, I think one thing that I want to, like my intention is in some form or fashion to be a lot more intentional with going through my breath and my meditation exercises, which is 10 minutes a day, right? It could be 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night, or just a 10-minute stretch in the morning. But that is really important to me. And the pain of the discipline is, number one, I got to remember to do it. Number two, I actually have to do it and sit still, which for me is not easy thing to do, especially, and I get distracted, and I got the ADD going on where something's shiny in my room and I'm going to get distracted, and not all of a sudden it's an hour later and I don't get it done, etc. So just working through the process of actually doing it and taking the time to do it it was one of my biggest intentions of this year, because ultimately what I want to do or try to do is reduce stress. And I know that there's definitely a degree of that can help significantly to help me with stress level, right? So that's another example potentially of what I have as far as discipline, and what I can do to just spend those ounces of discipline pain to get my intention, versus being a state of more stress, etc., which we know that's not fun either. So very cool. Anybody else? All right. So I'd like to hear from anybody that would like to share if we know what the pain of discipline is. So for example, for myself, the pain of discipline is actually remembering to sit down and do my 10 minutes of meditation, or actually doing my 10 minutes of meditation and not being distracted or what have you. Think about the discipline that you talked about. And the goal is not to 100% eliminate it, because that's not possible per se. Again, there's no easy street fantasy land. But I'd like to hear from the group of what makes sense of ways that you can minimize that pain of discipline to help increase the chances that it's going to happen, right? So does that make sense?
I think to think about when you're in the pain, to think about the other side, like the Buffalo storm or whatever, that there is better on the other side.
Yeah.
And this is just a step to get there.
Yeah.
And also to love yourself enough to realize that it's worth it. You're worth it. And it can be done.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff there. That's fantastic. So visualizing and seeing the other side, recognizing and reframing to recognize that this is just a step in the process, stepping back and seeing the big picture. You talked about self-love and worth, and then just having the confidence to get there.
And not beating yourself up when it's hard, which is counterproductive. Not jumping into the, oh, come on, you just can't do anything. I mean, not jumping into a negative mindset.
Right.
To keep, yeah.
Yeah, compassion, right, for yourself in the process, recognizing that nobody's going to be perfect, and that's okay, including all of us, and that's okay. And just having that self-compassion in the process of recognizing that it's not going to land 100% every single day.
You gotta move.
What else comes to mind as far as knowing the pain of the discipline that you need to go through to get you where you want to be as far as it relates to your mental or physical health and wellness? How can you set yourself up to minimize some of that pain?
I think what Bev said kind of applies to everything, or like all of the intentions that we set, like, example of skiing, taking a step back, recognizing that it's social, it's fun, longevity, like I'm getting better every time I go. It's the discipline of going, even though I might feel pain in the moment. It's taking a step back and looking at the overall picture.
Yeah.
Like, I guess mitigating by like doing modifications or doing easier runs, or you know, like I guess recognizing a way to like recognize your to minimize discipline is to recognize when you need to slow down or when you need to take a break.
Yeah.
Or when you need to not be 100% plant-based all the time and you need to kind of like give into your cravings a little bit to be
Yeah.
better in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah.
With what Helen just said, actually, part of that too, I think, is actually embracing the pain and seeing that that is a growth piece. That is your body telling you, yeah, you're doing the right thing because you are challenging muscles that have been kind of dormant, you know.
Right.
You're making yourself stronger in many ways because you're tapping into unused muscles or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the buffalo that's running into the storm, just embracing that, learning from it, growing, making progress, whether that's the pain of discipline or just the pain in general of the challenge that you want to get through. So what do you think about the person that wants to just exercise more, right? My goal as a client of mine is to walk 30 minutes 4 times a day, right? I'm sorry, 4 times a week. So as a client, what do you think that client could do? Obviously, there's going to be some pain there. It's the time, it's the energy, it's the physically walking, right? What are things that that individual can do to minimize that pain of discipline? Not that we're going to have to, not we're going to be able to eliminate it 100%. Well, what are some ideas you guys can think about that person that wants to intentionally, who's not walking hardly at all right now, but by December of 2023, they want to be celebrating the fact that they are consistently walking 4 times a week, at least 30 minutes.
Well, don't push so hard in the beginning
Okay.
because you'll get so discouraged by that, and work yourself up. Be proud of what you have accomplished and then set a goal for another 2 minutes or 5 minutes on top of that. Your
Okay.
second go around, the you're in trouble saying that word.
Specifically?
No,
I love you. I relate totally.
Oh my gosh, I know how to say the word. I just can't say it. So I'll just say in reality,
Okay.
the likelihood of you succeeding and not feeling pain and shortness of breath and everything because you pushed yourself. Because most of us, when we haven't done it, we can go out there and do that 30 minutes because we hadn't done it and it felt so great. And then afterwards, we're like, we can't sit, we can't move, we can't walk, we're sore,
Absolutely.
we can't breathe.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go do it again. And then you're discouraged because you're out there and you're really struggling. So
yeah,
like I said, just kind of work that up. Nobody says you have to exactly do it. Just build yourself up to what your goal is.
Inch by inch.
Yeah. So I heard take it slow, take it step by step as far as incremental goals, be very proud of the progress that you're making. So those are 3 terrific ways to minimize the pain of discipline of eventually walking 30 minutes 4 times a week. Right? What else comes to mind that that person could potentially do to help and support themselves to minimize the pain of that discipline?
It's kind of already mentioned, I think probably by me, but it's kind of the same thing. But it's to think of the why you're doing this in the first place.
Okay. Looking at the big picture, why? Yeah.
Yeah, because if it's a matter of building strength, why do you need that strength? Why do you want that strength? Is it a matter of balance? Why do you need that balance?
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's a matter of literally physically becoming more independent.
There you go.
To remove myself from my walker, to remove myself from my cane, you know, and get back to a spot of where I once was, or better than I am now, for sure.
Yeah. So focusing on your why to help get through and minimize the pain of that discipline, so you're executing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else comes to mind?
Maybe just being more flexible instead of saying it has to be 4 times a week or it has to be Monday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Friday. Just be flexible. If it's a
Yeah.
horrible day, don't take your life in your hands and,
Yeah.
go another time. When it comes to almost anything.
Yeah. Flexibility thinking is gonna, one of the presentations I really recently gave, one of the very last slides talks about the more flexible you are with your thinking, the greater chance you're going to have for sustainability with that action behavior. So,
Well, and again, also back to the stacking of, the atomic habits, where you stack one action to another action that you're doing all the time.
yeah.
So that it becomes more routine and not where you actually have to think about it.
There you go. Yeah. So stacking. So what's an example of a habit that somebody could stack with their walk to make sure it happens, right?
Maybe during commercial breaks.
Okay.
Maybe take something to the other side of the house or bring it back that needs to be just part of the action of routine, cleaning up or whatever. I don't know.
Absolutely. So leveraging when you're watching TV, when a commercial break happens over the course of those 2 or 3 minutes, just walking, just start building those steps in, because that's going to be, you're going to have the commercial break anyway. How can we stack this with something else to do that helps you with your goal?
And if there's something that you want to be listening to in terms of like a podcast or music, you can do it connected with the walking or whatever.
There we go. So minimizing the pain of discipline, we could be listening to music or a podcast during that walk, right? That's another way to get joy out of that process of the pain of discipline of actually doing the walk.
You have to make sure that you don't live in a studio condo in Boston that's like 500 square feet, so you actually have some place to walk.
Got to move. Sorry, Helen, you have to move.
I would love to get a bigger place. Don't you worry.
Well, okay, now how many feet are you talking about? 10 feet in your hallway or whatever?
Now my whole condo is like 20 steps.
Okay.
But it's perfect for me.
Yeah. It's a big room, right?
Yeah.
Or it's a room, let me just say. Yeah. Cool.
What floor are you on?
I'm on the 3rd, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
I could take the stairs.
Good example. And I'm going to throw this out. There's one other thing as possible to do that you can help and support yourself to minimize the pain of discipline. And a lot of you do this with your health coach. A lot of you do this with your friends. And what is that?
Drink.
Drink?
Gossip.
Water. Drink water.
I love it.
Yeah. Have a walking buddy or buddies.
Yeah. Accountability, right?
Yeah.
So that's a way, or drinking, that's a way that you can minimize the pain of discipline. And, honestly, as a health coach, that is probably the number one. It may not be, depends on the client, but it's probably the number one thing that my clients want is they want a level of accountability, because they know that they're going to talk to me in a week or two and say, okay, here's what I said I was going to do. Here's what I actually did. And that level of accountability helps them to execute through that pain of that discipline. Right.
And not the accountability, but the forgiveness when we're not forgiving ourselves.
No, of course. Absolutely. So in the context of that individual who is barely walking today, or not really getting, they're very sedentary, and they say, by December, I want to be walking 4 times a week. And I want to walk for at least 30 minutes. We have probably 10 or 11 ways that individual can minimize that pain of discipline to help them ultimately. So reframing it, recognizing to take breaks, taking it slow, being proud of yourself, setting instrumental step goals, focusing on the big picture why, flexibility with your thinking. It doesn't necessarily have to look just like this every single time. Stacking with behaviors that you're already doing, watching commercials, listening to music or a podcast to enjoy that time that you're walking. And then we also said, and I'm sure that we could just continue to come up with other ideas. And we also said accountability, right? So I wanted to bring this up because this is, I want you guys to be thinking about what it is that's important for you for 2023, recognizing that sometimes we just kind of have to do it, right? But it's not always as simple as just flipping the switch. For example, if you were to say, I really want to get my steps in December, I want to be walking 4 times for 30 minutes. For somebody that lives a very sedentary lifestyle, that's not going to happen overnight. But to your points, a lot of great ideas and suggestions that this person could execute on that pain of discipline to help them big picture, especially to help prevent the pain of regret, which weighs a heck of a lot more than that pain of discipline. So this is my last theory or philosophy I'm going to share. I think this is the second to last slide, but I want to share with you some of my own personal insight of this slide or of my life this last few months. And that is, I think it's incredibly important. This is just me and my opinion, but for what it's worth, I think it's incredibly important that we are always in some form or fashion working to move forward, okay? Which obviously takes effort in some form or fashion. And so that really kind of transcends a lot of what we're talking about in this presentation. But if you are of the mindset, and I'm not gonna pick on Claire, but I'm gonna bring up Claire because recently, in the last year or so, she's been able to retire, which is wonderful. And if Claire says, well, I'm retired now and the rest of my life, I'm going to sit down and watch Netflix, probably not going to go so well for Claire. Although that may be the ultimate goal that she wants to have, the reality is, not with her specifically, if there isn't some forward progress, there's a really good chance that this is going to be a disaster a few months down the road, right? So in that context of retirement, we could say the same thing for our efforts to live a healthier lifestyle or, to get more movement in our life. This slide is not about perfection, but it's about making sure that we're aware that in some form or fashion, we have to be continually having efforts to move forward. I'm not talking about running a marathon every day, but you probably should try to get some extra steps in some form or fashion, right? If that's what it is that really works for you in the movement category. And I've seen this in my own life as well. I'm in a pretty good place financially, and I can say, oh yeah, you know what? I'm just going to chill out for the rest of my life. I'm 57 years old. I'm okay. And that's what's going to happen. But I can assure you that is not going to work. Definitely for my personality, but just in general, big picture, my big message on this is we have to continually in some form make some effort to move forward. And it doesn't have to be a Herculean effort, but it has to be effort to move forward. Any thoughts on any of that at all? Am I just rambling here and I don't make any sense?
No, you always make sense.
Yeah. You guys pay top dollar for this.
But
Well-
if Claire wanted, if Claire wanted, Netflix in the basement and the patio and in the living room, she could get up and she could walk from room to room, up and down the stairs.
That's true.
And she could have her cake and eat it too.
That's
So-
right.
But
She
no,
could.
that's true. I mean, what you said, Mike, made sense. So
No, because either you've got one of 3 choices. You're either moving forward, you're staying in the same place, or you're moving backward. And so really you've got 2 choices, because if you're staying in the same place, you're kind of moving backward.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. And so this is my second to last slide. How to leverage this message about pain, discomfort to make progress in 2023. I'm curious, we talked a little bit about ways that we can minimize the pain of discipline as we want to, thinking about your own personal, this is kind of what my intention is this year. This is really what I want to focus on. what makes sense for you guys of taking this message and helping and supporting yourself to make progress in 2023?
Talk is cheap and actually do it.
Okay. So take action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else?
Keep talking to you, talking to this group. Keep getting
Okay.
motivated through books, podcasts, videos, whatever.
Okay. So having that social connection, having great information, things that bring you joy, that give you education to help and support you in your process.
Yeah, continually working on not only the physical aspect, but the mindset.
Yeah. And that's kind of those, that's the very first thing you said was taking action. Those are kind of some of the actions that you could be taking to help yourself.
Yeah, when you're not actually able to maybe do the action, that is really when it's important to at least do the mental work.
There you go.
And in my flexibility quest, I have had to be very flexible. My daughter's due to have a baby any minute, or any day. So I have a gym bag in my car, so that when because I can't make a lot of commitments at the moment. So
yeah,
just if I have an extra hour, I'll stop at the Y and walk on the track or something. And I have done that a couple of times. But I right now can't say I'm going to do this, because I've got to be kind of on call. So, taking my own advice, being extra flexible and just be ready if I can, if it's a beautiful day and I can take a walk. So.
Yeah, great example of what you said about flexibility as it relates to what's going on in this very exciting time of your and your daughter's life. Anything else come to mind?
Nancy needs to unmute.
I'm on mute.
Now we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will put it on mute because my husband's in the kitchen. I'm sorry, I didn't see the central time. I'm late, so I didn't
No
hear
worries. I'm
about
so
what
glad
was
you're
going
on.
When I looked at it to get on at 7, it was like, oh no, it was central time.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's my fault. I should have seen that. I
Well,
know
I'm
I've
also
got to get to
recording
the
this too,
gym.
Nancy, so you'll be able to watch the whole video later on as well. So
Okay, you just send the link or?
yeah, I'll send you the link after this, definitely. So it's not a
Okay,
problem.
sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's no problem. I'm glad you're on. I have two Nancys, and I saw Nancy was trying to get in, so I said admit, but I wasn't sure which one it was because all I see is my my screen. So it's good stuff.
Oh, am I not on video?
You are on video. Your voice is on video, but the recording is the screen that I see, which is basically the how to leverage this message about pain and discomfort. That's what's being recorded in our voices. So
I know I haven't gotten up to the gym yet. I really need to do it. I think with my mom, a lot of the things in my environment, things that are going on are affecting me to get going.
Yeah,
I guess.
definitely some challenges, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with your mom, that's obviously near and dear to you as well. So very cool. All right, I think that is the last slide. So folks, I really appreciate everybody's attention and your engagement, your responses. I hope this was helpful for you. This was a presentation really to myself, just in remembering how important and having the clarity that life is going to be painful, and that's okay. let's just accept it, and let's figure out how we can minimize that pain to continually move forward and make progress. So, but that is it for now, and I'll try to get this thing posted here in just a little bit, guys. But I appreciate y'all's attention.
Thanks, Coach Mike.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks and Happy New
Thank
Year,
you.
everybody.
Yeah,
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Have a nice evening.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.